You have arrived at your destination.
Well, hey there, nine-ball nerds, savvy spazoids. Do we have a treat for you? That's right, we just teamed up with Watchmaker Record Company from Columbus, Ohio, to release a 7-inch split. That's right, a record, a little vinyl guy, and it's a 9-ball and the Savvy split. Little nostalgia kick for you. It's got the olden track All About the Money from 2007, 2008 when it was released, for a little pop punk punch in the face, and then the song That's My Jam. I think that was released in 2010, and that was under the name of Savvy. Pretty neat. I'm excited to hear these tracks on vinyl. The website is up on Facebook. I'll throw it up, the link up with this episode as well. That way you can get a little taste of the fountain of youth there in vinyl form. Alright, onward. Today, you're going to meet Mr. Brandon Jones. Brandon Jones hosts a podcast called Animation Destination. We spoke with Brandon a few days ago, and his podcast is a part of the Destination Nation Network, and he talks everything animation. It was a really interesting conversation. Dude knows his stuff. And after talking to Brandon, I swear I just wanted to dig into some shows, Star Wars Rebels, and wanted to dig back into Batman the animated series. It was my favorite growing up, and it still stands strong and true to this day. So sit back, relax, click on the link, order yourself a 7-inch split with 2 of your old favorite tracks on it. And I will say, as regarding the 7-inch, there will only be 30 copies made, to my knowledge, which means if you miss it, you miss it. So pick one up if you really want one. If you know someone that might be interested, send them the link. Don't sabotage them. Episode number 40. Congratulations, myself, since I'm sitting here by myself on my couch at home with a little handheld recorder instead of being in the studio. Congratulations, myself. I'm sitting next to my dog. My dog's licking his foot. Get it in there.
Get it in. Don't record that part.
Get it in there.
Don't record that part. That's
I had a nickel for every time I've said
terrible, right?
I started recording 30 seconds ago.
Good.
Of course. Well, that's a good opener then.
Absolutely.
Oh, that'll do then. Cool.
Now we're comfortable. Now we're
cooking.
We are cooking. We are comfy.
What's cracking? What's happening?
Oh, not much. Just, got invited to this podcast thing by these dudes in their rad studio, and I'm stoked. I'm stoked about it.
You said you listened to the Barrow and Pack episode.
I did listen to the Barrow and Pack episode.
The Journey is what that's called.
Where I'm sitting. Brian was sitting, and we were recording that intro that night.
Sure.
You know, you have arrived at your destination.
Right, yeah.
And Evan was back there behind the glass with the big mic or whatever.
Sure.
And Brian was having me take photos of him like pointing and like like just playing boss man, like hands on the console.
I think there's actually video of him on the podcast Facebook of him being like, I'm the producer, whatever.
I have never met a man more willing to flaunt what little power he has. I love Brian to death.
You're totally safe to say that he will never hear this.
He probably won't. He won't. He doesn't listen to any podcast.
No, I know.
He doesn't. He doesn't listen to any of them.
But he owns two businesses.
Yeah, he owns
one of which.
He owns two. He owns two.
He doesn't read a lot of comic books either, from what he tells me.
He's a casual reader.
Right,
he does read a lot more than people let on.
Sure.
I think.
Sure.
But
it's part of his shtick. It's part of his personality to not read comic books.
He kind of has a shtick that he puts up with. He's a really good dude. He just doesn't want anyone to know it.
Right.
I think it's pretty interesting to watch him interact with others. Actually, so
very nice.
Yeah, but yeah.
So you're the host of a podcast.
I am. I am.
So you're not new to the microphone.
I am not.
That's right.
Thankfully, about a year ago, I approached Brian about doing a podcast.
Yeah.
And this was prior to them getting even Nerdstalgia off the ground.
Oh, okay.
And the idea was an animation.
Suck on that, Brian.
They were him and Eric were in the preliminaries of wanting to launch one, and they already did try their failed one.
Oh, really? I didn't know about this.
Oh, you didn't know about?
No, I didn't know about the failed one. I've got to hear about that.
They don't like to talk about that one.
Right.
I haven't heard any of it.
That's why we dig the dirt up here.
I've heard that it's awful. I've heard that it's absolutely terrible.
It was those two. Evan was on it as well.
No, it was Eric and
Eric.
Eric.
Sorry,
Eric.
Okay.
And Brian as they do Nerdstalgia now.
Yeah.
I believe it was called Destination Nerd. Was the name of it?
Huh.
It's probably erased from the internet.
Right. It's probably
I would imagine
Destination Nerd.
Yeah.
I probably have to torrent it now.
Yeah. And in the early days of the podcast, there would just be one microphone, a tiny microphone in the middle of a giant table in the back of the destination.
Everyone's kind of shouting at it.
And everybody shouts over it. If you listen to those old episodes, it's awful.
That's tough.
I remember one episode where I believe it was the Comic-Con episode. It was the Comic-Con 2014 episode.
Yeah.
And he invited 12 people onto that.
Oh, my God. With one microphone?
With one microphone. I'm not exaggerating that number.
That's amazing.
If there are too many people on a podcast, regardless of what it is, and you can't see who's talking, it gets kind of frustrating. It takes a while in order to learn who these people are and get to know them and care about what they say.
Right. So prior to that, I had already started 2 podcasts with my friend Hoss.
Oh, nice.
One, Video Destruct, which we talk about video games. He talks about video games. I barely ever game anymore. But I talk about retro stuff and stuff that I used to like.
Is that still going?
It is, yes.
Oh, okay, cool.
We're on episode 58 we just recorded. Yes.
Very nice.
Very cool.
Yeah, so it's still going, still going strong at videostruct.com. Cheap plug.
Nice. Yeah.
And then we also had a wrestling one, which is now defunct because we both kind of got tired of talking about wrestling. As that can happen even to the most staunch wrestling fan. So that one's defunct. I don't even want to talk about that one anymore.
Yeah.
John Cena.
John Cena. Basically, I approached him about doing one about animation because that's always been a passion of mine, as you can tell by my sweet sweater here.
Totally.
It just so I approached him about that for a while ago, and then about half a year, Nerdstalgia was rolling on, and he decided, he'd go ahead and start adopting podcasts and everything onto things. And I was the first one. I was number one.
I was going to ask. Nice.
Yeah, I was number one, and then I actually had Nicole on my podcast.
Okay.
And from there, she got Girl Gone Geek.
Yeah.
So I birthed that one as well.
Oh, that's great.
So you're the godfather.
I was going to say, So really, if you want to talk about the DNN.
If you do.
I mean,
I've sort
Brandon
of,
Jones.
I sort of butted off like a sponge.
I like to think that Girl Gone Geek is a spin-off.
Yeah, it is.
Of Animation Destination.
That's funny.
Featuring the popular character Nicole.
Nicole from the Disney Mania episode.
We actually just missed our year anniversary.
Oh, yeah.
Our first year anniversary.
And by missed, you mean didn't reference.
Right.
That's what
we recorded we released our first episode on January 8th of last year.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
And we recorded the last episode with Craig sometime early December.
Right.
And then the holidays happened, and we were just like, we won't release anything.
Just forgot.
And then I finally get back into the swing of things, and I edit it and mix it, and I upload it on the 13th of this year.
Yeah, right.
Just not thinking about it.
That's right.
So this episode is going to officially be.
This will count. So
that's funny.
It's January 8th, kids.
Yeah, let's pretend.
Good. That's pretty
Let's
good.
all
Happy
pretend.
1 year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I missed mine too. Now that you mention it, I don't think I ever even. I don't think I referenced that or anything. Oh wow, yeah, it was back in November.
So what? So what episode are you on? Animation Destination.
Animation Destination. I am on. Oh, you're putting me on the spot here.
I mean, I can find out. I have a phone.
It is.
We can
it's
look it up.
46 is what we just put out. I believe it was 46 we just put out.
Let's find out.
I could be dead wrong on that.
Let's see.
But,
we're recording 40 right now. So
I'm subscribed to Animation Destination. You have put out 45.
I put out 45.
Yes.
Okay. So yeah.
So I don't know how many you've recorded.
46 will be the next one. Yes, that's right. The year end, and this Friday we'll be recording 46. Okay.
Nice.
I knew I had 46 in my head for a reason. So that's good. I had something going.
Very cool.
But it's been a blast. We've taken some different formats. I kind of did the kind of like ensemble cast of getting guests on at the beginning and everything, and it kind of worked. It still works for certain episodes, but what I like to do, typically, Will's been on one of these, is get people on that haven't watched something like an animated movie of some sort. It's typically Brian, because he doesn't watch anything.
Right.
But then we watch that and then discuss it. And the episode,
very cool.
the episode you were on was Mask of the Phantasm.
Mask of the Phantasm. He had never seen that, and I don't know if you heard that episode, but Brian was not a fan of Mask of the Phantasm.
Really?
Yeah.
He did not hate it.
He didn't hate it.
He didn't hate it, but he said it wasn't. I think people built it up.
He was reluctant.
Right.
Yeah, right.
I think people built it up a little bit too much because that one is dated. I remember.
It is.
I remember thinking that when I still enjoyed it because I had nostalgia goggles on.
Yeah,
but
of course.
I saw it at Baxter Avenue. They were doing like
that's amazing.
those old stuff. And
That's
that was
amazing.
I had to go see that one, and
for sure.
And there were scenes in it that were just like this is real 90s, but still love it.
Absolutely,
it was good.
And it's not like this. It's not like Dark Knight Returns where it's like it's 80s because it's written in the 80s.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's just you're a product of your time.
Yeah. You are.
Sure.
And there's still just like really sweeping emotional scenes and beautiful imagery from it. And Brian is right. It's a story told for Batman that's been told a million times.
Right.
Okay,
But when you're a 12-year-old kid, you've never heard that Batman story before. Batman was in love with somebody?
Yeah.
What? That's madness,
exactly.
So it's been
exactly
probably more than 10 years since I've seen it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's very good.
Long time.
Yeah, it holds up if you watched it when you were a kid. It holds up
exactly.
For pretty well. I can see where it wouldn't hold up for somebody who doesn't have any nostalgia for it. But yeah.
So what got, like, when I first, because I remember I listened to Nerdstalgia first, probably, of the DNN stuff, before we were in the DNN, obviously.
Sure.
But I listened to that first, and then I think it took me a while to listen to Animation Destination, to be honest.
Sure.
Because when I heard the name, I thought anime.
Okay,
that was what where my mind went, and I was like, I'm not really into anime, so I'm gonna keep going. And then I started listening. I was like, oh, they did a Batman the Animated Series episode.
Yeah, that's right.
Did a I remember I was already into it at this point, but the Over the Garden Wall episode was fantastic. Just for our listeners who may not have heard your podcast, what the hell are you doing? You already downloaded this. Just pause it and go listen.
Why not
go listen to that? Yeah,
I would love that. Anime is another kind of it's sort of like an off passion for me too.
Sure.
I've always been into Western animation, always been into cartoons since I was very young. My dad recorded old episodes of stuff from the 60s, so I would watch Herculoids and Impossibles and stuff like that, and it's like that stuff like millennials have no idea what the hell that is, like all right, so but it's old Hanna-Barbera cartoons and stuff like that, but anime was more of a new thing. I didn't get into anime till about the late 90s when I started jumping into it. When Dragon Ball Z and Sailor Moon were brought over here, and Cowboy Bebop hit in the 2000s and everything, and I started watching more and more of it. It all kind of flooded at that point and spiraled out of control. I haven't had many episodes, about anime.
Yeah.
And I've had a 2-parter anime special and a Dragon Ball Z episode.
Okay.
And I think that's it.
Yeah.
I think that's all I've had about anime.
Do you I almost think of anime, and I'm not a huge animation guy. I mean, I love, things that are not because they're animated necessarily, but whatever, if the content is something I'm into.
Sure.
But do you think of those as sort of like anime and then Western animation as sort of like different genres totally?
They can be, absolutely. Yeah. There's definitely a style to anime as opposed to Western animation. I typically, this is how I kind of quantify it myself. If it's anime, it's anime if the lips just go up and down.
Right, sure, yeah.
Because there's no real I don't know, because a lot of stuff that's animated in the West is forked out over to Korean studios and stuff. So it's so it's technically just anime too, right?
Right.
But if it's something that's actually where the mouths are motion to match what's being said, that's typically what I consider Western style animation.
Right.
And anime is just the that you can dub over whatever language you want on top of it. And,
so it's not a lack of ability or anything like that. It's a style choice, to do that.
It is, and it basically set up for things that, and it really was just a style choice because Tezuka way back in the day, who started Astro Boy, that was the limitations of animation. You had blocky style animation, and he would just flap the lips up and down, and that was what it was. And typically they would just open, and then full sentences would come out, and then nothing.
Sure.
And that was just limitations, and that was just one style that kind of stuck. With everything, because it was we can animate all this other cool stuff, but we don't have to animate the lips at all. And then
it sounds like a nightmare.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it does. Yeah, but then I guess it just worked with dubs too. It was we could sell this overseas. They can put the French dub in. They can put the American dub in, and it's just then you get the Speed Racer syndrome of talking too fast because you don't have a lot of time to fill in. It's we must defeat the Razor X with speed.
That's really interesting. Yeah.
So
I never thought about that.
Yeah, it's an intriguing little thing of stylistic history because of limitations. Limitations create style. So.
Yeah, definitely.
Are animations typically 24 frames per second or no?
Typically, I believe they are 24 frames per second on television. In film, they are 32. I don't want to say that's definite, but I feel like that's right. I feel like that's right. I have to look that up.
I feel the only way I'd ever be able to animate someone saying something would be to film someone saying something.
Yeah.
And then and then draw the shape of the mouth every frame.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I wonder if that
would
be a reference of how to.
That would be called rotoscoping. That is an exact technique that was developed by Disney. Okay. And they used it in Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. And Onward Beyond. That's where you get that sort of realism type style of when she's running through the woods. She kind of looks like a real person. Yeah. They just filmed somebody running through the woods and they drew over it.
Yeah.
And that's what they did.
That's very interesting.
Oh wow, that makes so much sense. That I was just in my head. I was quiet for a minute because I'm like, okay. I've got to animate something. How do I do
Let's pretend I can draw.
And I was just like, that'd be the best. Just use a human, and then if it's the same frame rate, then you're set.
Right.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
It would absolutely work. Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah, I've heard that term before, rotoscoping, but I didn't know what it meant.
Yeah.
It's like frame by frame.
Yeah.
Frame by frame, kind of plastered over something else, and just it kind of has that realism look to it, and a little rubbery.
Sure.
It's interesting because a lot of people kind of crap on it because it's this is just taking something that's already there and drawing over top of it.
You're a tracer.
Well, basically, it's you're a tracer.
You're a tracer, man.
But and I can see where that lies because the beauty of animation is that you can do whatever you want.
Sure. Yeah.
Why follow a format of that and when you can just have them have really cartoonish oh my goodness crazy things are happening with their faces and and that's where I think the last bit of rotoscope in any animation, I believe, was Oliver and Company.
Oh, really?
For Disney.
Okay.
I think that for Disney's movies, I believe, and it was I think the giant cement truck was rotoscoped, and that was it. And then they went on to CGI. So,
I was going to say, now it's. Well, there was a there was another sort of non-CGI animated Disney movie not too long ago, right? The Frog, what was it?
Princess and the Frog.
Princess and the Frog. Yeah.
It was solid.
I remember liking it. I don't know. I watched it once and I can't really remember, but I just remember liking it.
It gets a lot of crap. I thought.
Oh, does it?
I thought that movie was really solid. I thought it was really well done.
Yeah.
It was a great homage to the old,
sure,
Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast type stuff. I honestly really enjoyed it, and I don't know, people just crapped on it for some reason.
That's really strange.
Yeah.
I thought it was great that it seems strange. I get it. Like CG is a new way to make animation. Like it's almost a new medium,
right.
you know? Mm-hmm. But at the same time, just because there's a new medium, why would you
why
let the other medium just die?
Why abandon that?
I mean,
right. So whenever
yeah.
So covering all bases of your podcast, do you consider like CG movies and shows to be animated, I guess?
Absolutely. I was harsh towards it when it began. I sort of liked Reboot. It was like, this is kind of weird and choppy, and I don't get it, but it was like kind of the top tier of CG animation at the time, so it was like, this is actually pretty decent. And then Mainframe came out with Beast Wars, and I was all over that.
Oh, okay.
Transformers, hell yeah, let's do that. So that I really started to like, but the limitations back then are very apparent, because you can kind of notice like there's not a whole lot of people around in those.
Oh, yeah.
It's very barren.
Sort of a static background.
It's a static. Yeah, exactly. It's a static background, and this is kind of unfair for CG, but that was always a problem for me as it was developing.
Right.
Mainly because like in 2D, that's kind of the same thing as well, because you don't always see people like in the streets of a city in 2D animation, but with CGI, you basically see every turn, every corner, every crevice, every alleyway of that city, and there's no one there.
Yeah.
It looks bizarre when they do that. So, like the Green Lantern cartoon that came out a few years ago after the movie had that problem. Whenever there was a city, it was just barren.
Oh, it was just empty.
And it was just like, I remember one scene of like Hal Jordan and Carol Ferris like just walking down the street. There's no one else in frickin' Coast City.
Yeah, I guess that would fall into the uncanny valley.
Oh, yeah.
Because like if something feels off, something feels not human about it because it's so barren, there aren't any people.
Exactly, and it's slowly coming out of that valley as well, because the new TMNT cartoon, its first season was sort of that way. It was kind of barren. They would mask it by it being at night, but it's like, it's New York.
Yeah.
Nobody goes to sleep in New York.
Right.
But these past few seasons, there's always people walking on the street and everything, and they make sure that there's somebody on the street, it seems like, and I'm like, oh, that now it looks more fluid and more open. So
that's cool.
Yeah, we're kind of jumping over that area now, it seems. And we have with movies, obviously. You look at Big Hero 6, and it's just a vibrant world.
Oh, it's crazy.
With tens of thousands of people on screen at one time.
And it's genius, too, because like as realistic as those characters look, it looks like a realistic, like if a cartoon were human.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, proportionally and stuff like that.
The features are all exaggerated.
Yeah.
The eyes are bigger, the heads are bigger, and
that was one of my favorite art designs in a long time, was that movie. Big Hero 6 was fantastic looking, and I'm hoping movies start to kind of jump away from the basic look that CG movies have, because they all kind of look the same.
Oh yeah.
Which is kind of irritating. Like if you ever looked at the preliminary art for How to Train Your Dragon, that stuff looks really unique and really cool. Very angular, very spiky, very interesting looking, and you can kind of see where like they were developing that, and then when they started making it into CGI, everybody's like, smooth that out.
It just bubbles out.
Yeah, it's got to look like the other movies. It's got you
that's interesting.
You kind of get that feeling like they're like sanding it down and going, it's got to look like other stuff.
It's
got to look like the other things.
Right,
we can't have it not look like that. And it's interesting that like it. I want him to jump the rail into something else, and kind of like take a big shot at making something that looks really unique.
Totally.
And I'd say Inside Out kind of took that first shot.
Oh, interesting.
Inside Out, the characters in that look like a Figment.
Yeah.
They kind of have like a weird sparkiness about them, and then they all have different shapes.
Yeah.
They all have different faces. It's very interesting. You know, so.
I still haven't seen that, which is insane.
Oh, yeah, it's a great movie,
dude. But
it's a great movie.
I know,
it's a great movie.
I have to.
Yeah,
it appeals to people. It appeals to anybody.
Yeah.
Because it plays on something we've all experienced and we all continue to experience. It's the idea of growing older and what you have to do to let go of kind of who you were and being a child and just growing up.
Yeah.
And it's kind of heartbreaking.
Yeah.
But the fantastic thing about that movie is that it's the message is this is okay.
Yeah. Right.
You're gonna be sad.
That's what I've heard.
Because things suck, but you know what?
Yeah.
It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay to be sad.
Right.
And you don't hear that or see that in animated. Stuff.
It's so moving, and the reason I think it actually topped my Pixar movies. For the longest time, Incredibles held that one, and then Inside Out beat it. So it's probably it's my favorite movie of last year. It's one of my favorite movies ever.
Yeah,
it's super solid.
It is, and it takes a concept that's like old as it's like old as dirt.
Yeah,
personifying emotions. We probably did that when we were children.
Sure,
we didn't. It's just an idea, but they take it in every possible length.
Yeah,
and
just the way they physically kind of portray like the idea of memory and thought and
yes,
how you feel about things and how you store certain things, and like you have these basically these marbles that are your memories from the day, and it's Joy's job to make sure those memories stay happy. And if a sad one gets in there, it's like, okay, red alert. We got to figure this out because those memories are going to the core memories of who this character is.
Sure. Yeah.
And if there's a sad one in there, the core of this person is sad.
Yeah.
So they have to go on this big journey of.
And it starts to like resent, like you have this whole like weird world and they're explaining it, and then when you just like see what's going on with Riley, the girl, like it's just she's going through it, like she might go into depression pretty soon. Because like that's what's happening. She's having an existential crisis. And she's about to kind of define what's going on in her life.
That's interesting.
Very intriguing.
Right. The beginning of the movie, like all these emotions, these marbles are like solid. Like they're either one thing or they're another thing.
Right. Of course. I mean? Yeah.
And you can kind of imagine the arc that the movie takes. But
that's cool.
Yeah,
it's good.
It's very intriguing.
I
was going to say, how did you like the How to Train Your Dragon movies though?
I like the first one a lot. I thought Toy Story 3 stole. I thought it stole its award for that one. I like Toy Story 3, but it did not. It was not as good as How to Train Your Dragon.
Yeah, I actually just watched both of those for the first time last week.
Yeah, the score in How to Train Your Dragon is gorgeous.
Dude, John Powell, man.
John Powell
he's the man.
He was amazing.
Well, every other composer is doing that Hans Zimmer modern.
Yeah.
Big chunky. Monster brass and strings. John Powell went like, no, this is a movie about dragons, and we're going basically folk orchestra,
Celtic.
Interesting.
It's very like lyrical sounding, and
that's cool.
So good.
Yeah, Test Drive is one of my favorite like scores from any movie, and it's just so good. And that basically became the main theme for the show for the movie, and they even got a Netflix show of it now as well. That's
I saw
nice.
that.
Yeah, it's
because
it's okay.
How to Train Your Dragon 3 doesn't come out until like 2018.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Which is crazy.
Taking a while. Yeah. And for 2, I thought parts of 2 were very, very good. And then other parts of it felt like a TV movie. Like it
really?
It felt like it wasn't as strong of a push. I don't know what it was. Yeah. So I didn't dislike it. Didn't dislike it at all. But
are there like when I think about I was wondering about animation in terms of like this is not pejorative, but like for adults, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I know Inside Out will play well with adults and stuff like that.
Yeah, right. Adult animation.
Yeah, that's why I brought you here to talk.
Of course,
let's be real.
Let's
no, but like I think like okay, you have some sort of like DC animated universe stuff maybe is sort of more adult, which means it has blood
Killing
and they curse,
man. Killing
Killing Joke.
Killing Joke's coming.
And
it's coming.
And so if I think about that, and then I think about, which I would love to talk about Killing Joke in a few minutes. But I think about that, and then I think, okay, well, there's that, and then maybe there's, Family Guy, Bob's Burgers type thing. Mm-hmm. Are there other, and it might be once you tell me, I'll go, oh, of course, but are there other sort of non-comedy or genre, animations for like adults? Because I can't really.
They don't really have much of a marketplace for those things here. Anime, obviously. There's tons of stuff that's drama filled. You got Cowboy Bebop. A child would be bored by Cowboy Bebop.
Right.
That's how there's not enough action. There's all these slow noir moments.
Yeah.
There's this sexy woman smoking that the child's not going to care. A 3-year-old's not going to care about that. Whatever, icky girls.
It's not spectacle.
It's not spectacle. It's not crazy. And that's very sparse in Cowboy Bebop and things like that. I think it is there, but for our purposes, it's not.
For our culture.
Yeah, our culture, not so much. It's typically either people will either market it towards, well, this is towards adults, and that's your Bob Burgers, that's your South Park, that's your things like that, and then there's things that are directly towards kids, such as Dora the Explorer, Blue's Clues. Which way do we go? And they point at the thing, and you wait for people, and you're saying to the left, you idiots, to the left. As you try to keep from cursing as your niece is sitting below you.
But
where's Joe? I miss Joe. Wasn't he the first one?
Yeah.
Right? Joe, the first Blue's Clues host.
Joe.
It wasn't.
Steve
was Joe the replacement?
Joe was the replacement.
No, I don't want Joe. I want Steve. Never mind.
Steve went on to do bigger and better things.
I know. I heard about that. Google Steve, everybody.
Google Steve. Google what Steve did afterwards. It's not a good thing.
Something I've noticed, especially with animation on Cartoon Network, every time I'm home, my dad and I will flip through and look for Teen Titans Go.
Yeah.
Because there's stuff in that show for us.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
There's so much stuff in that show for adults and
Teen Titans Go gets a bad rap from Titans fans.
It's so good.
Teen Titans was
hilarious.
And I understand their problem because Teen Titans was a really cool show, and then you kind of bring it back with this, it's so goofy and has SpongeBob-y humor and and they're so they're really angry about it, and I'm just but it's spawned off of the goofy comedy that's from that show anyway. And I just it's just fun to hear those voice actors back doing stuff and just saying goofy crap all the time.
But dude, it's so aware of itself.
It is.
There's an episode where you have what was the show before it called just Teen Titans?
Teen Titans, yeah.
You have Teen Titans, and then Teen Titans Go was basically the reboot. And there's an episode about their style of animation being too dumbed down.
Oh, really?
And they're afraid of being rebooted, so they reboot themselves before they can get rebooted.
That's good.
There's another episode where they're talking about the old show.
The old show,
And I'm trying to think exactly what happened.
Is it the serious episode?
Maybe so.
Because there was one that I remember where the Young Justice crew flies in, and they're drawn like the Young Justice crew. It's like Aqualad and Superboy and Ms. Martian, and they're like, oh, wow, it's Young Justice. You guys are so cool. And it's we take things seriously. And everything's so serious and everything. And I love Young Justice. It's one of my favorite shows.
I loved it. It was so good.
But they're poking fun at all the fans who are kind of oh, it's not serious at all, it's so dumb. And so they have to get serious. So they become these 90s embodiments of seriousness and oh, we have to be serious. And it's so good.
Dude,
that's awesome.
Starfire's always floating around these giant eyes saying words wrong. And Robin, there's a point where they have to they're trying to be getting to the Justice League. And there's a point where in order to save the Justice League, they have to go and steal all the Justice League suits and be different versions. And they're all fighting over who gets to be Batman.
Right. Yeah.
And
of course. Of course they are.
Right.
And obviously Robin gets to be Batman.
Right.
And as soon as he puts on the cape and cowl, he's he'll pop out of the frame, and then he'll pop in and he'll go, "I'm Batman. I'm Batman."
That's great.
That's
awesome.
so like, dude. It's so aware of the whole like universe of that it sits in.
Was the first show Teen Titans? Was that in the Timverse? Was that
it technically,
or it came out of it or something? Or?
It technically was not.
Okay,
it didn't. There was one.
I didn't even know that I've seen like a still of that.
This is how much of a nerd I am, folks. Okay, so basically, it wasn't technically within the same realm of continuity. However, there were references during certain things that were within continuity.
Okay, all right.
And it's just like there was an episode of Static Shock that had Batman on it and Tim Drake Robin on it. And or maybe Tim Drake wasn't there or whatever, and like Static Shock's in the Batcave. He's like, "Where's Robin?" And he's like, "He's with the Titans. You'll meet him soon." And it was before the show premiered, so you're just like,
so
nice. And then there was one episode of Justice League where Speedy was on an episode of Justice League with Green Arrow.
Man.
He was designed and voiced by the same guy who played Speedy on the Teen Titans episode.
Ooh,
so
okay.
that's like the only references you have.
Yeah.
It's actually not official. So it's not
nice.
It's not official. If
That's right.
Actually, that's it's not official. It's a spin-off series. Actually,
yeah. No.
Dude, Young Justice, like that season 1.
Oh yeah.
Roped me in.
Yeah, dude.
Like I was like, I turned it on, and like the first episode, it's like you got Speedy and Green Arrow doing their thing, and then you have the next pair, and like all of these Young Justice members with rightful members of the Justice League.
Oh yeah,
and it's just
it was so good, and just to watch like. Each episode, you just watch like the Justice League this well-oiled machine of just like perfectly like tactical, doing all these tactical things like, oh, we have to be here, and Batman's coordinating it, and it's just like that's really, but it's kind of over here because we're witnessing it from the Young Justice perspective. So they're doing like all this like awesome stuff, and they have to like do cleanup stuff or stealthy stuff that the Justice League hasn't done, and it's just like this is so cool. And then the Justice League ends up getting like completely screwed, and they have to save the day now, and it's just like, oh, it's such a good build up.
Nice.
And like you have Speedy, like he's like he wants to be in the Justice League, like he doesn't want to deal with the sidekicks anymore, the sidekick team. So he like disappears, storms off for a while. And,
and then there's a traitor in the team. You don't know who that is, and like,
nice,
it's so good. That's Greg Weisman, who is the showrunner of that. He is probably my favorite creator, and I can't wait to do an episode on him because he did pretty much all my favorite shows. He did Gargoyles, which was fantastic.
Cool.
He did a show called Witch that was on Disney for a little while, based off of a European comic. It's actually a pretty good show, but not well. It wasn't really well known.
Didn't last or whatever.
Yeah, it didn't last. All of his shows last 2 seasons.
Really?
That's all he ever gets. It's maddening.
That's that's like, crazy.
It's maddening because technically Gargoyles got 3 seasons, but he wasn't involved in season 3.
Okay.
Gotcha.
And also season 2 was like 52 episodes.
Was he involved in the Gargoyles movie?
The movie?
Did you not see the movie?
It was a straight to video, right?
Oh yeah.
It was my first introduction into Gargoyles. I got it for Christmas.
Was it called The Gargoyles Movie?
Probably.
Yeah.
I wore that VHS out.
Was it just the first 5 episodes? Because I have that VHS.
I don't know.
Like, is it just?
I don't remember. As a kid.
Okay, yeah. Where they
see
get?
If I can find something about it.
Where they get like frozen in stone and has to be lifted above the clouds and they all get free and stuff like that.
I think so. Yeah. I guess that was. They just. Marketed it as a movie.
Yeah, they made it as a movie, as like an opening thing, and then they just released it as like 5 separate episodes as well.
Gotcha.
With all the Star Trek people in it. So.
Oh right, I knew about what's number 1, right?
Yeah.
Riker.
Yeah. Jonathan Frakes is Xanatos, and Marina Sirtis.
He is.
Marina Sirtis. What's her name? Deanna Troy. She's she's Demona.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, she's
cool.
Demona. She's so much better as a villain.
Is, yeah.
She's so much better as a villain. It drives me insane.
It's so crazy. You're saying all these names. And I haven't seen these. It's probably been 18 years since I've seen that movie.
Right, yeah, exactly.
And
Yeah.
I remember thinking as a kid, he was Riker.
Yeah, I remember.
Exactly.
That's the only one I remember.
Yeah, he was Riker. Yeah,
that's very cool.
My mom actually watched it because she was a big Star Trek fan. So just hearing Riker's voice, who's like her favorite character, so I was like, all right, I'll watch this.
Yeah.
But yeah, Greg Weisman,
number one.
Yeah, make it so number one. Interestingly enough, Patrick Stewart was never on it. He's like the only one. Michael Dorn was on it. Yeah, everybody was on it, but it's just not Patrick Stewart. Everybody on the bridge. Let's see. Greg Weisman did that. He did Witch.
Yeah.
He did Spectacular Spider-Man, which is the best Spider-Man animated series.
I don't think I ever saw that. Was that the one
where I saw that one either?
No one ever saw that one.
Oh, really?
It's like, because again, 2 seasons.
Yeah.
Was that the one where Tara Strong voiced Mary Jane, or is that a different one?
That is Ultimate. Yeah.
Ultimate.
That is
okay.
Ultimate, yes.
Yeah. I watched a little bit of that, but
Ultimate started off good. It just went right into the tank. Spectacular Spider-Man is my favorite period of all the Spider-Man stuff. It's very Ditko. Each episode is actually mimicking of the first season. It actually mimics who the villain is in each issue.
Oh wow,
that's sweet.
Like episode 1 is Vulture, issue 1 is Vulture.
Wow.
Issue 2 is the mercs or the 3 mercenary dudes, and in episode 2 it's
did they reference like the Fantastic Four or anything in it? Because weren't the Fantastic Four a big thing in one of the first like 5 or so issues?
In his first appearance, I believe he first appeared in like something of them, I believe. Yeah, first appearance was like Amazing Tales or something, and he appeared with them.
Fantasy, I think.
Amazing Fantasy, yeah. Mm-hmm. And I'm not super good with Spider-Man's comic lore.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it was very Ditko, and it just sort of all lands out at the end of it where Venom shows up. So so it obviously takes like some steep turns.
Totally,
sure.
That's how many years of comics?
Oh,
Venom,
totally,
so,
yeah.
Is several.
Is that series available? Is it like on Netflix or Prime or anything, or Amazon or anything?
This is the most annoying thing in the world. Okay, I at one point on Netflix I searched Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Every single animated series was on Netflix.
All of them except
Spectacular Spider-Man. It was infuriating.
Typical.
Oh man,
it was all of them. Even season 1 of Ultimate Spider-Man was on there, which canceled Spectacular Spider-Man so that they could have Ultimate Spider-Man.
Yeah, gotcha.
It was infuriating. So anyway, those 2 seasons are spectacular, and see what I did there. And people should go check that out.
Yeah.
And then Greg Weisman did Young Justice after that.
Oh, cool.
Then that only got 2 seasons, and ended in the worst possible way. If anyone's ever seen season 2 of that, it's not yet on Netflix, I don't think.
Yeah.
It ends in the most horribly terrible way that it infuriates me to this day.
Yeah.
Do you think they planned on a 3rd season?
Oh, definitely. Because they like the very last scene is just like, now these 2 are teaming up. Good luck. And then it ends. Yeah. So it's like,
so it's not like he's just like, I'm doing 2 and I'm out.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
if it was
canceled.
like, oh my god, so infuriating. But then now he's doing Star Wars Rebels.
Oh, okay.
I was going to say, I haven't seen any of that, but I really want to.
Yeah. That is a good show. It is infinitely better than Clone Wars. The
really?
Clone Wars CG show.
Yeah.
Now, is Clone Wars considered canon at this point?
It is.
Yeah, I thought
Clone Wars
was.
and Rebels are canon now.
Yes. Yeah.
But the rest of the extended universe
is done.
Yeah.
The only things now that are canon are whatever comic books are out now.
Yeah.
That's
the new comic, the Marvel comic.
The new Marvel comics that came out before Force Awakens.
Yeah.
The prequels, Clone Wars.
Yeah.
Is that because Clone Wars was made under...
No,
they just ended up.
I think because it's
popularity.
Yeah, I think because it's so tied with the prequels, and they can't exit the prequels.
Oh yeah,
they're just like, we'll have to scoop that up as well.
Sure.
Plus, they immediately started with Rebels and was like, well, we need to get a cartoon going now.
Yeah.
So we'll just adopt this and have it take place after Clone Wars.
Where does Rebels where does that fit?
Rebels takes place, I believe, 15 years, maybe 15 years after Revenge of the Sith. So,
okay, so it's probably pretty close to Rogue One, a Star Wars story.
It's like it really is. It's like 5 or 10 years before A New Hope. So,
Gotcha.
Yeah, so we're getting like...
Dude, that sounds awesome.
That does sound awesome.
I want to watch that.
It's great. It's got these great new characters. It's got this rogue Jedi named Kanan, or Padawan. I don't think he ever made Jedi before Order 66. He was saved by his master during Order 66. He had to, so he had to... Oop, I've been unplugged.
Sorry.
Oh no.
Whoops.
What happened?
Hey-o.
There we go.
It's a short.
There we go. Okay, we're good. Okay, all right, there we go.
Don't touch anything.
Yeah, so Kanan, played by Freddie Prinze Jr.
Really?
Does a great
Nice.
job.
Cool.
Bringing it back.
Right?
Freddie.
Yeah, Freddie's bringing it back. His wife joined the show recently, actually, as a Sith Inquisitor. And Sarah Michelle Gellar is awesome on that show.
Sarah Michelle Gellar is married Freddie Prinze Jr.
You didn't know that?
Dude, even I know that. Come on.
The planet's just aligned.
Come on. Everybody
That's
knows
like
that.
childhood.
That's like celebrity gossip from 1998.
Maybe I knew that in 98, but
they hooked up in the Scooby-Doo movie, dude. Come on.
Dude, that's fantastic. That's like...
It is fantastic. They've made it work this long.
They did.
I'd call it a fairy tale.
Yeah, it is.
That's a fairy tale ending.
That's a fairy tale ending right there.
That's right.
They are kind of a genuine couple, too. It's like, you don't hear much about them.
It's not like a PR move.
Yeah.
Right.
If you can say you married Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yeah.
No harm, no foul.
What else
All
is
good.
there?
Yeah.
No kidding. But yeah.
What is Rebels coming on? Like, where is it airing?
Rebels comes on Disney XD,
Okay.
which is one of their extended channels or
Sure.
whatever. Yeah, it comes on Wednesdays, I want to say.
Yeah.
And right now it's on a break, but
Yeah.
holiday, winter break or whatever.
Is it still in the first
Yeah.
season?
It is in season 2 right now.
Oh, wow.
Wow, I feel like it just came out.
It seems like it
Yeah.
should have, but
Yeah. They ran through it quickly. But season 1's kind of a slow burn. You kind of get to know these characters.
Sure.
You got this Mandalorian chick who's really cool. You got Ezra Bridger, who's this young kid who's like very force sensitive, and Kanan senses it. But he doesn't want to train him because he's bitter.
Sure, right.
It's really cool. And there's this awesome pilot named Hera. She's great. She's one of the ones with one of the race with the 2 tentacles off the heads.
Yeah.
And she's really cool. But yeah, just these cool characters that you kind of slow burn on them. And then season 2 is just, here's Darth Vader. Enjoy that. And Vader just tears through these guys, and they're just like, oh shit.
Dude,
that's so
awesome.
good. It's
That's
so
sick.
good. Yeah. It's really awesome.
yeah, I gotta watch some of that.
How
Definitely.
far do you think they'll take it? Do you think
Definitely.
they'll take it up into episode 4?
It's possible. I mean, they're moving it along, and I feel like after season 2, we're gonna get like a jump break in years. Like I feel like the next season's gonna be like years later, something like that. Because like Vader obviously couldn't like be like he was introduced really quickly in season 2. But he had to be kind of like like Palpatine's like, go over here instead. Because we can't have like Vader getting owned by these. These peons. So he's got to go like make sure the Death Star gets built or something. So he goes over there, and these Inquisitors show up, and that's where Sarah Michelle Gellar's at. So, but it's really cool, and you see like the beginning of the Rebels and everything. There's an episode that like shows how the B-wing gets built. That's really cool. Like,
dude,
just like it's really awesome.
Because
like,
that kind of stuff's for adults too.
It is.
Oh
You know what I mean? It
totally.
has to be.
Yeah, of course.
It's
they
for
know who's watching it.
They know, and that's back to that point of like, there's these ones for adults, here's these ones for kids. Then there's the ones that are strictly for family. Like,
right.
Like here's something a child can watch. That a parent doesn't pound his head into the wall with annoyance well, and or even enjoys.
For sure.
Like there are certain things. Like I know many dads and everything who love watching things, and I'll recommend stuff to them. Steven Universe is the one that I will recommend to anybody.
I've heard so much about that, and I've never seen it.
That show is fantastic. And it is right now my favorite show on television. Period. Go watch that show. I can't recommend it enough. And again, it's sort of a slow burn. It'll start off, it's a little weird, it's a little quirky, but you'll enjoy. Like I think like people will enjoy it. It's like it's got these intriguing characters, and they have really cool silhouettes and like different designs on them. But then when it starts to get into like who they are, their idiosyncrasies, their flaws, you're just like, this is deep. This is not for kids. This is like a kid can watch this, but like they're not going to understand how deep this is. Like
totally.
It's totally for people.
It's playing on multiple levels.
It is.
Which is,
yeah.
I feel like maybe right now, this is probably totally wrong, but I feel like right now is one of the first, if not the first time that kind of media could exist.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Where it can hit somebody who's 35 and has a kid, and it can hit the kid as well. And they're both like, yes, on board. Because, like, there's, adults now are watching genre movies, are watching animated, films and shows.
Well, yeah.
Are reading.
Think of the Avengers. Like, those aren't kids'
of course.
movies. Those are just movies.
They're just movies. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
No, I totally agree. And it's not just because, like, the parents grew up watching cartoons, and now they're, more acclimated. The people creating the cartoons growing up watching cartoons.
Exactly.
It's like Rebecca Sugar, who...
That's a great point.
Yeah, like Rebecca Sugar, who created Steven Universe. She spun off at Adventure Time. She worked on Adventure Time.
Yeah.
And, they she did the Finn and Cake or the Fiona and Cake episode. That exploded social media, so the Cartoon Network was like, you want to make a show?
Yeah. Right.
So she was like, well, I freaking love anime and I love cartoons, so yeah. So then that's what this show is. That's what Steven Universe is. It's a revolutionary girl. What is that anime? I can't remember what it is, but she loved that anime, and that's what it. She watched Sailor Moon when she was young, and now she's making things.
Totally.
And so anybody who watched that stuff is like, oh, this is so that.
Yeah.
And that's what it is, and I don't think there's a better time for cartoons than right now.
Yeah,
because some of the best ones ever have come out in the past decade.
Definitely,
Avatar: The Last Airbender is still to this day my favorite.
That's another one that I've heard just so much. I've never heard anyone, even people who are not into animation, not into that general like aesthetic generally, just are like, watch that show.
Right,
I've heard that over and over and over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's spectacular. It's the first season can be it's clearly like, oh, this is targeted towards kids, or it's towards a younger age. As it develops, you kind of get like, okay, they're getting their feel. Yeah, like you can see what's happening, and I don't think Nickelodeon liked it. Oh yeah, because it kind of got more and more adult as it went along. Yeah, and they kind of forced it out the door.
Did they?
Like quicker and quicker.
Yeah,
and then they realized, oh, this makes money. Now let's do Legend of Korra.
And
then the same thing happened. They even took it off the air and made it only internet in the last 2 seasons, which was just blasphemous for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, things like that, like now, like things like that, things like Adventure Time, which is like clearly done by a D&D fanatic who wanted to make a cartoon. Like, and that's it's what it is now. Like the creators are the people who watched things like Transformers when they were young, and now they want to make something.
Right. And so they're speaking not only to whatever kids might be watching, but also to people that they're communicating their experience through this medium.
Yeah.
So
exactly. And I've it's never been a better time for animation for me personally.
Yeah.
Especially since it's easier to do animation now. Netflix is cranking out new animated series all the time. They have this big deal with DreamWorks. Like I said, the Dragon series, which is not great, but it's not bad either.
Sure.
It's kind of cheaper animation, which is kind of hard to look. It's a little tough to look at because like Dragons is so beautiful as a movie. So looking at it in a lesser view is kind of like, but it's still a decent show. They had a Croods cartoon. Like, remember the Croods?
Yeah.
Huh. Barely, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Had Kevin
the director of How to Train Your Dragon couldn't do the second movie because he was doing the Croods.
Oh yeah. Okay. Interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, dude.
Was it Cave People? Is that the deal?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was Nick Cage and his cave family.
Oh wow.
I saw it. It was
great.
Yeah. I don't remember much from it.
Yeah. It was just kind of one of those flybys. Yeah. I mean, there wasn't much to it.
Gotcha.
But they have since put out an animated series for that, Dawn of the Croods, and it's a 2D animated series. And
really.
Interestingly enough, and this is something that goes into my whole nerddom, is when you notice something is done in Flash and when you notice something is done not in Flash.
Interesting, right.
Or not so much Flash, when something is animated artificially as opposed to frame-by-frame animation.
Yeah.
Watch Dawn of the Croods.
Okay.
There are certain episodes of that are done with motion tweens, thicker lines, and artificially skeletal animation. and it's not as good.
Interesting.
But then there are episodes that are clearly, it's all done digitally.
Yeah.
Well, actually, some of them don't look, because some of the lines look very uneven. So I would say that's probably actual pen and paper. But that's frame by frame animation.
Yeah.
Still done digitally, but it is one frame after the other. Sure. Here's a different drawing, making into a flip book that we're putting on camera.
Yeah.
And it's hard for me to like convey like how different that is until I saw this show, and I'm like, go watch the 2 different episodes of this same show.
Yeah.
Episode 1 and episode 2 are so vastly different, and 2 is so inferior.
Like, and whereas it's probably just like a time crunch thing.
It was. It was like they probably had a time crunch, and they were like, all right, give that to those guys, and these guys aren't as like versed with, or didn't have enough time for it, so they used motion tweens and all sorts of canned animation for it.
Now, what is that? Explain that a little bit. Motion tweens and so forth.
Motion tween in Flash animation is where the computer basically the program actually calculates what the animation will be frame to frame.
Gotcha.
So basically, you will say, have a ball on this end of the screen, and you'll have a ball on this end, and then you will take that ball on this frame to this end of the screen.
Gotcha.
You can do frame by frame by frame, animating it to that part of the screen, or you can just do a motion tween, and it'll just automatically boop, and it'll go to that end.
Gotcha.
So that's
so you give it A, you give it B, and it fills in.
Yeah, it fills in all the in-betweens for you, and depending on how long that frame is, how slow it'll move, how fluently it'll move, and stuff like that. So, and it's definitely a great tool and can make for great things, but when I have yet to see anything that is as good as frame by frame animation.
Sure.
It just, nothing tops it. Like, I even enjoy CGI stuff more now, than I did back in the day. But frame by, and that's skeletal animation where you have a whole skeleton, you put a model over it, and you can move it however you want, and then render it, and that's what it is. And it's obviously way more complicated and more amazing than how I just described it. But just doing frame by frame, flip book style animation, can't top it, man.
Yeah.
It looks so good.
Yeah,
it just looks too good, and I hope that it doesn't die out.
Well, I was going to say, I wonder if it'll become one of those things like vinyl. You know what I mean?
Right?
Like a sort of, or like indie comics. Like, you know what I'm saying? Where panels are drawn by hand and so forth. Like, I just wonder if it'll become that sort of aesthetic where it's a subgenre that people who love it really love it.
Yeah.
And it's not going anywhere. It's not that people are aging out of it. It's just, it becomes its own separate sort of part of the medium or something like that.
I feel like it'll always be there. There's always going to be those craftsmen. There's still pinstripers.
Sure.
We've got every form of digital printing you could possibly have, but there's dudes that are still like, I got to do this by hand. And they'll pinstripe it by their hand. And it's they'll always be the violinist that wants to do it correctly, or quote unquote correctly. There is no correct. It's all.
But
it's all art.
But who appreciate that particular process or whatever.
Precisely. Yeah. It'll be interesting to see what comes of it. And again, there are, with the Croods cartoon, there's obviously it's obviously frame by frame, but it's done digitally.
Yeah.
So there's always that route.
Right.
And, there's a French cartoon called Whack Fu, which is on Netflix as well, if you want to go check it out.
Cool.
It's sort of like just like a kid adventure show. I would not recommend the dub. The dub is awful. Watch the French dub with English subtitles. That's the best way to do it.
Yeah.
But its animation style is gorgeous, and it only becomes more gorgeous into the next seasons because it's frame by frame, cell shaded, all done in Flash.
Yeah,
it's so cool to look at, and just the action scenes and even the emotional scenes, like the down to earth type of scenes and the backgrounds and scenery are just it's something to behold.
Yeah,
and that's something like art design wise that I always point people to be like, This is what I want CG animation to be.
Yeah.
Not modeled stuff. I want that.
Sure.
So
like, what about like the newer DC animated movies, or like Dark Knight Returns, for example? How is that being animated?
That is traditional pen and paper, which is fantastic.
That's what it looks like.
Yeah. And that's traditional pen and paper. I don't think Bruce Timm will ever. Till Bruce Timm dies, I don't think he'll get away from that format.
Well, but that's because they have comic books drawn in the Bruce Timm style.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah. Like the Bruce Timm style is which is the Jack Kirby style technically, but he made it into his own. But it just that style I don't think will ever go away until that studio closes down. Until Warner Brothers Animation closes down, I don't think it's going away because they're making a killing. They're making really good profit off of their animated movies.
Yeah.
They're even spinning off with more kid-oriented ones.
Interesting.
There's one called Batman Unlimited, which is really just kind of.
I've heard about that.
Yeah, it's kind of like Batman in the future. And he's got Red Robin, he's got Nightwing, he's got Green Arrow, Flash, and they all kind of have like futuristic.
Sounds great.
Yeah,
yeah,
it does sound great. Yeah,
and
sounds awesome.
They all got like kind of futuristic outfits and stuff, and like there's robots everywhere, and but it's pretty interesting, and it's more towards kids, obviously.
I was going to say, is there a Green Arrow version, like a show in that?
In the Bruce Timm?
I know. No, I've seen a Green Arrow show or parts of a Green Arrow show recently. Yeah. Where he's got this his bow, like his artificial intelligence.
Yes, that was during DC Nation's shorts thing. That's where the Teen Titans Go spawned off of. Okay. DC Nation was the Saturday morning block that would have all the DC animated shows like Young Justice, and they had the Green Lantern cartoon that lasted for 2 seasons was on there. But in between those shows, they would have these little shorts.
Okay, so those were just shorts.
Yeah, like Lauren Faust would have the Super Best Friends Forever, which was a great little thing. I have the vinyls of those figures because they're great, and it's Wonder Girl, Supergirl, and Batgirl, just kind of like doing goofy stuff for like 3 minutes.
Cool.
And that was one of those. And Will Friedle played Green Arrow, and for the first time, Kari Wahlgren got to play Black Canary. She's a big Black Canary fan, and so that was cool. But that's what that was. It was just these shorts, and sometimes that could spin off into a show like Teen Titans Go, but nothing else did. So it was a shame.
Well, we should chat about Killing Joke, because I know we're coming up on an hour, and I want to talk about that.
Yeah.
The Batman the Animated Series was like the first show that my dad and I would watch together.
Oh yeah. So yeah, it's kind of the quintessential, and I think that's why the DC animated universe is so like, okay, this is family oriented. This is for all, right? Because there were parts of the Batman animated series. I remember the first day it premiered, like because my dad, he's a big nerd. He's always been into comics, so we watched the SpiderMan cartoon, we watched the X-Men cartoon, but when they were showing trailers for that Batman cartoon, it was just like, this looks amazing.
It's just a different level.
And
didn't they originally animated it all on black paper?
They did.
And it was too dark.
It was just like too much. Yeah. The first few episodes, I want to say, like were done in black paper.
Yeah.
And Mask of the Phantasm was done in black paper as well.
Yeah.
But they were just like, we can't keep doing it. Man, the On Leather Wings premiered on a Sunday. I remember that.
Yeah.
And we all on prime time. It was like at 8:00.
Yeah.
And we all sat down and watched that, and it was just like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
And it was kind of scary too.
Sure.
Like where like Langstrom's like turning into the Man Bat. Yeah. He's like laughing, and his yellow eyes. I'm like, this is
that's right off the tail of Tim Burton, right?
Yeah, true. Yeah, it's like 92 or something.
Yeah,
right?
Somewhere around
like
there.
that.
It's Danny Elfman's score.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Like, I mean, that was I obviously I watch that show all the time. I've watched it recently.
Sure.
But that show doesn't talk down to anyone.
No.
You know what I mean? That's part of its strength, I think.
Yeah,
is it just
absolutely.
It plays it straight. It's fine for kids. There's nothing, inappropriate in there, whatever.
No.
But it just plays it totally straight.
It does. And it dealt with actual death, which was something that was kind of not okay for networks. In cartoons. Any cartoon on a network show, you couldn't have death. You couldn't do it. Cable, you could.
Okay.
But networks, you couldn't have somebody die on camera or anything like that.
Yeah.
Which was funny because my dad recorded Johnny Quest, and people died horribly in Johnny Quest, like just like screaming into a plane crash. And so I just always thought that was funny. But they would seriously deal with the fact that, like, yeah, Bruce Wayne's parents were murdered.
Yeah,
they was dead.
Yeah,
like pearls on the ground.
Yeah,
you know? It's like
it was not pretty, kids.
Yeah,
not pretty at all.
Yeah, and
you wanted Batman, we're giving you Batman.
Yeah, this is what it is. Yeah.
You did, and of course that spun off into the later seasons with that and Superman.
Sure,
Superman the animated series, which I loved. I don't think people really watched that as much,
not as much,
appreciated it as much. I adored that cartoon. That later went into Batman Beyond, which was great.
Right.
Right. Then Justice League, which was absolutely spectacular, and then the movies.
It's almost. I mean, it's been almost long enough. Yeah. Well, I mean, it has been long enough that
about 25 years.
Yeah, that this Killing Joke film that's coming up is for us who were kids when
we were kids when
that show came out. You know,
because Killing Joke just hit like right prior. I want to say.
I think it was 87,
87, 88 or somewhere around there.
Somewhere around there. Yeah. I'll find out. But so what were your thoughts initially when you heard that they were doing this?
About time.
Yeah,
it's just like really like it was just like I understand that because I understand that it's a really severe step, but then when you did Dark Knight Returns, I'm like
that has some stuff in it.
That's some pretty brutal stuff.
It's brutal.
I feel like you can go, and I'm not sure where the line was drawn to where they just go full bore, because the death of Superman or Superman Doomsday, which was not a good movie. Like it immediately like started doing like you had Lex Luthor shoot Mercy in the head like on camera, like it was silhouetted, but like that happened. So you're just like, well, you could do Killing Joke then, right?
Sure. Well, and one thing that's interesting is like I'm curious because Hamill and Conroy are doing Killing Joke, whereas Dark Knight Returns was Peter Weller and the guy from Lost,
Ben from Lost.
Yeah, and so I wonder if that. I don't know. I wonder if people feel differently about that because it sort of ties it to this other series that's sort of
Mark Hamill always said that if they ever did Killing Joke,
he would do that.
Yeah.
So they can't not get Mark Hamill.
Oh, of course.
And Kevin Conroy's like, as far as Batman fans go, he's Batman.
He's Batman.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
He's Batman.
Like,
whenever Michael Keaton.
Sure.
Yeah.
No, when the cartoon came out, that's when you met Batman.
Exactly.
Michael Keaton was fine and great, but
right.
Kevin Conroy is Batman. He always will be.
Yeah.
For me, and for all intents and purposes.
Sure.
There's a great story that Kevin Conroy has where after it's on. Have you ever seen this movie? I believe it's on Netflix. I Know That Voice.
Yes.
Fantastic documentary.
I think I have seen that, yeah.
Fantastic documentary. Created and directed by John DiMaggio, voice of Bender. Where
I saw that.
He basically interviews all of his friends, and there's a Kevin Conroy story on it that's great, where he's talking about after September 11th, he goes into a kitchen to serve, serve soup to, homeless and stuff like that, because, September 11th, everybody feels like they need to help out and stuff. So it's around Christmas, and, he's like serving this dude soup, and he's like, because he's like talking to him, he's like, are you Batman?
And
he's
Batman?
like, yeah, I'm Batman. He's like, and he goes, and the guy's like, hey, he's serving his soup. It's freaking Batman. And then and he just hears from bullshit. He's like, make him prove it. And he just he goes into like the whole like, I am the knight.
Yeah,
I am Batman. He's like, holy shit, it is Batman. like that's great.
That's awesome.
Man.
So I think the big thing with the Killing Joke, it's like it's not just violence. It's like psychologically
right.
Yeah.
Well,
damaging.
It's psychologically damaging, and there's an implication of sexual violence.
There is,
right?
Which is all of Alan Moore's work,
right? Of course, yeah.
I think everything Alan Moore has written has had rape in it at some point.
Yeah.
But no, it's kind of about time. For that one of the ones that I really wanted to see, which was one of the first ones that was up to be done, was Teen Titans: The Judas Contract, where Tara betrays the team and all that stuff. That got shelved because Titans got canceled.
Okay,
so they were like, "Oh, there's no There's no fan fervor behind that. And then Teen Titans Go comes out to astonishing ratings. So now they're doing a Teen Titans versus Justice League, I think. And I think that's coming out before Killing Joke. Don't quote me on that.
Yeah.
And Killing Joke was one of the first ones they talked about as well. That and Dark Knight Returns.
Sure.
But it was kind of like, that's kind of big. Like, can we get away with that?
Exactly. Yeah.
And I think like after all these ones and the recent Gods and Monsters, that is dark.
Oh, really?
I
haven't watched that yet.
Gods and Monsters is super dark, as are the offshoot shorts that they have. There's one where Batman versus Harley Quinn that's just like full of murder and body mutilation and just like, what the fuck? It's just so out of the it's just like really weird. And I'm just like, they can do Killing Joke no problem now. It's just
they're at a point where they don't have to worry about marketing to kids at all.
Exactly.
Because they have their core group of their core market.
It's true. It's true.
They're fine.
Yeah, when Return of the Joker came out, the Batman Beyond movie.
Oh yeah.
When that came out, Bruce Timm showed it to like the producers and everything, or like the heads or whatever, and they were slack jawed at the end of it. They were like, this is not for kids. We cannot show this to children. You're out of your mind. So there was a censored version that I still have. I have that version because I never assumed that the unedited version would ever see the light of day.
Right.
And it's not super different.
Is the censored version PG-13 or is the other one?
PG-13 is the censored version, I believe.
And then there's just
PG is the censored version.
PG is the censored.
PG-13 is the non.
Gotcha.
Which you could probably go for R
you could,
on that and some of it, but there's no foul language. So
sure, right, exactly.
That's how they get away with it.
Yeah.
And, so there was always that barrier of like, like WB wants to market to kids. Yeah. They definitely want to. Yeah. Now there's clearly a market for... we don't have to worry about that.
Well, like we were saying, it's like the people who are kids when this stuff is coming out are...
exactly. So, now it's just like it's full bore. They can do whatever they want now. And it's... it's kind of reminiscent of their comics now, because their comics are really dark and diminished.
This is what I'm excited about with the Killing Joke. The last few panels of the Killing Joke have raised such a stink and such a controversy about what actually is happening.
That's a great call.
Thanks, Grant Morrison, for that theory.
Exactly.
So they've got to animate it.
What are they going to do?
They do. Do you animate him killing Joker?
And
does he kill Joker?
I'll go ahead and tell you. I don't think so.
You don't think so?
He kills the Joker later.
Yeah.
Oh,
after he sticks the battering in his eye.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
His neck.
That's true.
I see what you're saying.
It has to be considered the same continuity, right? Or does it not?
It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be.
Because it's...
Dark Knight Returns is such an Elseworlds type setting. Like it's really different from anything else. And Frank Miller's a crazy person, so it's like
that's true.
It's true. It's just kind of like, that can just be out there with whatever.
Well, and Alan Moore didn't even intend for Killing Joke to be continuity, right? It was but that's how you get Oracle, and so
exactly it became such continuity because of it. It was just going to be an offshoot thing, and then everybody's like, we can do stuff with that. And,
totally.
And Oracle was brought from it, and later on, just every bad thing about Batman can be traced back to Killing Joke and Death in the Family. That's always going to be the weight on his shoulders. Which is why I hated New 52, but it's because they condensed everything into a few years.
Oh right.
And I'm where's the weight? Where's the weight on Batman when it's
6 years?
Yeah, it's 6 years. Yep. Yeah, this is 2 years ago you did this.
2 years ago, I had my first son.
Now
he's 10.
Right?
Now he's 10 years old.
That's the thing. Yeah. It's like he, with the timeline that they presented with New 52, he conceived Damian before he was ever Batman.
Sure.
What's the fucking point? Yeah. What's the point of that?
I would have preferred a hard reboot, but
but Snyder's he's too much of a fan to do that. You know what I mean?
I know.
First of all, he wouldn't have done it because he said, we'll find someone else to write
Well,
it.
and DC wouldn't do it either, probably. So
I don't know.
You think so?
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Hard to say.
I don't know.
What time are we sitting at? We getting close?
We're at an hour and 9.
Hour and 9. All right. Well, let me ask you this, Brandon, before we get out of here.
Sure.
Give us some recommendations, stuff to look out for. Animation-wise or not, whatever.
Stuff to look out for.
Yeah. What are you feeling that's coming up?
Where can I watch Rebels?
Steven Universe, definitely. Rebels you can watch on Disney XD Wednesdays at 8, I believe. If you don't have cable, season 1 is on Netflix.
Oh, cool.
I think. Nice. Or it's on Hulu. It's one of the two.
Cool.
It's somewhere out there. I don't know. Or Disney's just has it in the vault somewhere. I have no idea.
I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah. If I can recommend a site that's probably not kosher, kisscartoon.com.
Yeah, don't go there, kids.
Don't go there.
Do not go there.
Don't go there.
Not unless you got your McAfee or Norton antivirus.
I in no way.
This is a public service announcement. Do not go.
Do not go to kisscartoon.com for
website.
All your cartoon needs.
No.
To watch anything you want to watch.
Literally any animated
Please
show
go to
you
other
watch.
places.
Yes, absolutely. Check out Steven Universe. Check out Rick and Morty.
Oh, Rick and Morty.
Is fabulous.
One of the guys I work with today at work was playing the new Pokemon style Rick and Morty game. Have you played that?
I have not played that game.
It's like apparently I didn't see him playing it, but like it's like I think you're Morty,
right?
And you're going around like you're like a little. Did you play Pokemon? On Game Boy.
Yeah, sure.
You kind of walk around the little map, and then it'll flash. But instead of collecting Pokemon, you're collecting Elseworld Mortys.
Okay, yeah, all right.
He just got a Greaser Morty today.
A Greaser Morty.
That's amazing.
That's good. Yeah, that's a big plot point in Rick and Morty. Morty, we gotta.
I love
Morty.
it so much.
Oh, Morty,
it's so good.
I need to do these. I need to do something with these seeds, Morty.
That's pretty good.
You gotta. I need to put them in your anus, Morty. You gotta put them way up there, Morty. You gotta put them way up there.
Oh, that show's so good.
You gotta do this for me. I've done it too many times. I'm too loose. You gotta shoot him, Morty. You gotta shoot him. You gotta kill those guys.
That's damn good, Rick.
I don't know, Rick. You gotta shoot him, Morty. They're robots. They're robots, Morty. I don't think they're robots, Rick. They're bureaucrats, Morty. I don't respect them. It's so good.
It is.
I love Rick and Morty. It
is so good.
To death, I love that show.
So good. So Rick and Morty, Steven Universe, Star Wars Rebels.
Anything
else comes to mind? Throw out for the people.
Gravity Falls. That show is almost over. The last episode premieres on Disney XD February 13th. Mm-hmm. Go watch that show and watch that final episode because that is one of the funniest shows I have ever watched that is not adult oriented. It is so good.
Nice.
Alex Hirsch is the creator of that show. He's good friends with Justin Roiland, who created Rick and Morty, also the voice of Rick and Morty.
Yeah.
And it's so good. Nice. It's so freaking good. Go watch that.
Awesome.
Homestar Runner's back. Go watch Homestar Runner.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Homestar Runner's back.
Homestar 101.
Homestar 101.
My wisdom.
That got brought back with an April Fool's joke last year, and it got so many things they were like, we're bringing it back.
That's great. That's great.
So every now and then there's a new Halloween episode out there now.
Very cool.
So go check that out. Also, another independent animation show, Ruby, RWBY. It's on Netflix. It's on Hulu. It's for free on roosterteeth.com.
Yeah.
This show is awesome. Go check it out.
Nice.
Yeah. Done in Poser. It's really interesting. Yeah.
That's plenty to keep you busy, kids.
Plenty to keep you busy.
Yeah.
Go check all that stuff out.
So much
Go
good
check
content.
out the Animation Destination
I was going to say.
podcast.
Oh,
yeah.
my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, we made a little tune for that.
You
for
did.
That show.
Oh my god.
we did.
You did. Yeah. And I was gonna blast that out at the beginning of this thing, but I'm gonna go ahead and thank you guys so much right now for that. Because that is the dopest shit I've ever heard in my life.
Awesome.
That is exactly what I did. When you guys came over to record your Halloween thing, and I laid out what I wanted, I was like, I needed to be like, He-Man or Thundercats or something that sounds like that. Yeah. And like, it was so spot on.
So you're saying we cracked the code?
Cracked that code,
dude! I found so many like different like sound effects. I was
gonna say
the ship flying over in stereo,
and then the lasers. Pew, pew.
And I also put a tape emulator on the master track.
That's what I was going to mention.
And you can hear the whole track start to wobble.
The VHS warble.
Man. Dude, it's so good.
Thanks, man.
And that's the thing, yeah. Like when I hear like the do 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 like the in betweens. There's kind of a wobble in it, like kind of like you're watching on VHS. Yeah. I was like, oh, it's so good.
For sure.
And
it kind of comes in and out.
So Joe's voice is on every episode of your podcast.
It is. It's right at the beginning.
We should spin that song on this episode.
Yeah.
We should just do that one instead of ours.
Dude, yeah.
Exactly.
Agreed. Totally agreed. Because look, like I love all the stuff you did for all the DNN. Like I think it's all great. Girl Geek is fantastic. Nerdstalgia, but fuck it, mine's the best. I don't care what anybody says.
That's what I want.
Mine is and I can brag about it because I didn't make it. So
that's what I hope.
Mine is so much better than that trash.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I hope every host says that.
Everything else is.
Every host is like, ours is the best.
I was gonna say, I think Barrow was really digging yours too.
Yeah, dude, it's so good. I absolutely love it, and I love all the other ones too. Bagged and Bearded, I love too, just because I loved Brave and the Bold.
Brave and the Bold, yeah.
So it just that really hit.
Here's a little nugget of information.
Yeah.
When sitting down to compose each one of these tracks, you can actually sing the name of the song or the name of the podcast.
Oh yeah.
So,
yours is obvious because he does it.
Yeah.
Animation,
destination, and I have to. I have to do it every time.
So you've got
so good.
Nerdstalgia, Nerdstalgia, and then you've got a Bagged and Bearded.
Yeah.
And then you've got
Girl Gone Geek.
Yeah.
Right at the end.
Yep. Gone Geek. Girl Gone Geek.
Yep.
And then
it's gonna be.
We were actually gonna do gang vocals at the end of that song.
Right.
And I guess she's already spinning that track, but we may do another version if she wants, because I'd love to get a bunch of the DNN folks into the booth just to do a big girl,
yeah. I agree. I think get a bunch of girls in there and just do that. I think it'd be really good.
It's going to be fun to write a melody that is the Villain District podcast.
The Villain District podcast. The Villain District podcast. The Villain District
podcast. With
science. The Villain District podcast. The Villain District podcast. Dude, I think
that's it.
I think you wrote it. That's it.
And recorded it.
You know what? You got that recorded.
That's it.
Just that's it.
Done.
I would kind of like to do like a Tarantino-y sounding thing.
There you go.
That'd be good.
Let's do that.
Let's do that.
Done. We just wrote it.
Done.
Got it.
That's pretty much about as quick as all the ideas came. The hard part is just making all. Yours was probably the biggest challenge.
Really?
I think so.
Really?
Well,
Nerdstalgia was probably more of a challenge.
Because I actually made something.
You did.
And Brian was like,
I heard about that.
He was like,
Get that out of my face.
He's like, I think I spoke the wrong words to you because that's not what I had in my head, but that's what I told you to make.
Yeah. Right.
He's like, I want something with like an orchestra. I'm like,
that is different.
Yeah, the reference track he gave us was like synthesizers and Mario sounds.
Yep.
Well, there you go. All right.
So
cool.
good.
Yeah, that is totally what he said.
But
Brandon Jones, thank you for being here, sir.
Thank you guys so much for having me.
We will absolutely have you on again.
Thank you so much. I would love to.
Everybody go listen to Animation Destination.
Thank you.
Totally.
All right.
Woo.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.